It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. So thanks for joining me today. So this is my take on the astrology for October 2023. Now, what's interesting about this month, of course, is that it's eclipse season again. And so we have 2 eclipses this month. But on top of that, the ruler of both of these eclipses is Venus. So it's important for us to look at Venus as well, which we will look at. But it's also important for you to look at Venus in your chart as well, as that may be activated at this time too. So we have, talking about Venus in Leo at 28 degrees will be out of shadow this month of October on the 8th of October. So that kind of puts to rest the whole saga of the Venus going retrograde in Leo. And so after that, basically, Venus will be staying in Virgo for the rest of the month. And so for the whole month, most of this month, Venus in Virgo will be doing what? She will be collecting information, and she'll be sifting and sorting important information to pull out what's important, right? Virgo is also about service. It is about our health as well. So all these subjects may come in to view this month for all of us. But I really saw that, a lot of the folks that did break up or just decided to consciously uncouple over the summer time period, this could be a month where you really get the facts straight and get important information lined up in order to move forward, right? Because we've got Venus now going direct and out of shadow. Okay, so when we look at the first new moon, the new moon in Libra will be an eclipse, a new moon eclipse, at 21 Libra and 8 minutes. And it will occur on the 14th, 15th of October 2023. And at this new moon eclipse in Libra, we have Mercury conjunct the Sun, as well as the Moon, as well as the South Node, as you recall, is in Libra too. So this is a pretty significant new moon eclipse. It's interesting, initially at first blush when I looked at this, I didn't think it was all that, it was kind of okay. And then I started digging into it and I thought, wow, this is a really important eclipse going on right now. And when I looked up that, when I look at the chart for the actual new moon eclipse, the first thing that came to my mind was a whole group of lawyers or a council of some sort, maybe even like the Supreme Court or the World Council or something like that. But that came to my mind immediately. And so in terms of like more of a collective level, these types of things may play into the whole month of October. Because we look at Libra, it can represent a number of things, but Libra really does represent that balance, right? It represents harmony. It can represent the law, diplomacy, that type of thing. So from a collective level, that could all be at play. But certainly if you've got something, say around that 21 degrees of Libra, you're also going to have Mercury in the South Nodes conjunct that too. So this could be a really important new start for some folks. And maybe it will literally be in a legal case where maybe there's some favorable discussions that put everybody on a new path. Now, Mercury is a modulator. And so I see at this eclipse in Libra that there may be an actual increase in discussion and potential negotiations at this time. So again, for those folks that say, want to move on with their life, whether it is a relationship's broken up or they're just wanting to move on in some way to get maybe better balance in their life, this would be a good new moon to have some favorable interactions with regards to negotiations and pulling stuff up that is significant to your case. The other thing too with this Mercury is that Pallas Athena will also be conjuncting Mercury at this eclipse. And so this is also to do with things like intellectual types of discussions and getting the information correct, that type of thing. Now, when we look at the Sabian symbol, so there's a book that you can get that's called the Sabian Symbols, and it lists every degree in every sign in the zodiac, and it gives you an interpretation of it. And so the Sabian symbol for this new moon eclipse in Libra, and you always round up, is 22 degrees of Libra. And it is a child giving birds a drink from a fountain. So really this translates into really giving sustenance, whether it's literal sustenance or something akin to that, to everyone that needs it. So there may be some new developments going on here in society. And I'm thinking in potential changes to laws, rules, and regulations type thing, going back to that whole thing where I was talking about the new moon in Libra being kind of this whole group of lawyers of some sort, or this council of some sort, where there's new developments that happen with regards to really helping everybody here and giving to those that really, really need it. And I think it's going to be something significant. I don't think this is going to be a minor thing. Because on top of everything else that I've just spoken about, we actually have a yod operating. And this yod's going to be operating all month in some way. Now, it's going to be particularly powerful at this new moon eclipse in Libra. Why? Because it forms at its base or apex, it forms with two planets. And one of them is Uranus, the other is Neptune. And it is pointing at this new moon eclipse in Libra. And of course, we have conjunct that, the south nodes. Well, the south nodes will stay there all the month of October. So that's why I'm saying that this yod will be in operation for the whole month. But more importantly, it's going to point out something important to all of us. And if you have something around, say, the 21, 22 degree mark of Libra, this could be a very important new start for you. Even a new start for those folks that need balance in their life, right? Need harmony in their life. It's not all necessarily about legal stuff, but I think there's a big collective legal thing going on here. Okay, so that's what I see that's going on here. We also have Mars trining Saturn, and Saturn is at 0 degrees of Pisces and some minutes. Now, 0 degrees is a critical degree, and actually Saturn will go direct next month in November at 0 degrees. So this also says to me that there's some important potential favorable action that can take place here with regards to integrating, I would say, some new structure in your life. So again, this kind of goes back to everything I've just been speaking about right at the beginning of the video, where I just really think this new moon in Libra could be very favorable for many, many people, especially with regards to new starts, because that 0 degree critical degree is, relatively speaking, like a new start in some way, even though at this new moon eclipse, Saturn will still be retrograde. Now, I don't normally cover moons that are in between the full moon and new moon or vice versa. But on the 22nd of October, we have the waxing gibbous moon, which is the moon just prior to the full moon. And it just happens to be at 28 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. And so I also saw this new moon as particularly important as well with regards to, I feel this is going to be a real pinpoint in time where we finally get it, that we finally say, okay, we can let go of all those old structures, right? So Pluto in Capricorn really represents letting go of those old things that just are archaic, that don't really assist anybody anymore. And so I saw this, this particular moon, just prior to the full moon, conjunct Pluto, as a significant mark in the sand here. And certainly if you have something around that 28 degree mark of Capricorn, that, whatever that is, will be conjunct Pluto. And so for you, this may be the final steps, the final touches in whatever it is that you are transforming in your life. Can also be a time of testing. Has this worked up to now? Do I need to do some adjustments here prior to taking that jump in a new direction? Now, when we look at the Sabian symbol for this moon at 28 degrees of Capricorn, it was really interesting. It's a woman reading tea leaves. And I thought that was really interesting, although I'm not reading tea leaves right now. I'm ostensibly, I guess, looking at potential things that are happening in the universe with the planets and stars as a future as well as present type of activity, right? But really what this meant to me was that you get to see the facts, but also you get to see through the facts of what the real meaning is of the facts. So you might have to think about what I've just said here. But it's that intuition, right? You've got these facts presented to you, and then you have to determine, and I would say this is an intuitive exercise, what do those facts really mean to me? Especially if you've got something around that 28 degree mark of Capricorn, or the opposite sign, 28 degrees of Cancer, as a direct hit. So we have our next full moon eclipse in Taurus, 28th of October, and it is at 1:24 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 5 Taurus and 9 minutes. So the Sabian symbol for 6 degrees of Taurus is a cantilever bridge across a deep gorge. And I thought this was an interesting way to kind of tie up the month with this final eclipse. And it's the final eclipse, of course, in a series of eclipses that we've had over the past, not quite 2 years, a year and a half, or a bit more than that, in both Scorpio and Taurus. So it's a finality too, it's a wrapping up. And so I really saw this as literally building a bridge, whether it's metaphorical or not, or literally a bridge across difficulties and working together, right? That's what that Sabian symbol refers to. And indeed, I believe it does refer to that final eclipse, that full moon of saying, okay, let's dig in here and work together to build a bridge so that we can all benefit from whatever it is that is a difficulty for us, either individually or collectively. Now we have the sun that will be in Scorpio at this full moon eclipse, and it'll be widely conjuncting Mercury, as well as Mars that are in Scorpio. So this does, even though it's a Taurus eclipse, there's a lot of Scorpio going on here too. And I would say that especially with the Mercury and the Mars in Scorpio and the sun, this will be some kind of illumination of probably secrets. Could be just hidden information that's not been available to you. So we're looking at around the 6 degree mark of Scorpio for the Scorpio planets that we're talking about here, right? And so that's the sun, which is a luminary, that is Mercury, and that is Mars. And so there's some kind of favorable energy that's going to be kicked off here with regards to, boom, you all of a sudden see the light. You're all of a sudden able to take some action here. With regards to things I believe that were hidden. It can also be psychological too. I mean, certainly Scorpio is very much a psychological type sign. But I think this is an illumination of some facts that were hidden, whether they were hidden intentionally or not. We also have the moon will be conjuncting Jupiter. Now the moon, if we look at it from a standpoint of a collective level, represents the people. And so we get this Jupiter expanding the moon, basically saying there's going to be a lot more notice put to the people here. Now, Jupiter, generally speaking, we look at that as representing foreign people, foreign lands. So I think there's going to be a big focus here on people in foreign lands that are going to be bringing a lot of stuff up to the surface here, right? Let's go back to the fact that this is a full moon in Taurus, bringing things to light. And with Jupiter on top of that, it really expands and brings things to light, but especially with regards, I feel, to foreign lands, foreign people, but it could also be to philosophies as well, right? Groups that have a certain philosophy, for some reason, may be brought to light for us to see at this full moon eclipse. Okay, so when we look at November, we will have Saturn going direct at 0 degrees. And as I mentioned, that's a critical degree. I'll talk more about that in my video for November. We'll have a new moon in Scorpio. So Scorpio, you got a new start in November. And then we have a full moon in Gemini. All right, let's move on now to the signs and or ascendants. So Libra, we're going to start off with you. Because Libra, you have a new moon eclipse in your sign, so this should be pretty significant for you. Now, for anything to really show up for you, Libra, we're really looking at the 21, 22 degree of Libra to be most affected. Otherwise, a lot of times these things go by, and don't forget, a lot of times these things are internal things to us. So when we look at Libra, we're looking at balance and harmony, right? We could also be looking at balance and harmony in our relationships or our friendships, diplomacy, that type of thing. Even just social type things as well. So for some Librans, there may be some significant thing that happens here with regards to these areas of life. Now, you've got this yod. So if you do have something around this yod points at the south nodes for you, Libra. So I would say that generally speaking, this new moon will require you or ask of you to let go of something. And how could that play out? Well, let's just say that for some folks, they're involved in a new relationship. Well, this could just be with the south nodes being activated that you let go of your single status and you take on this other status of actually being as a couple together at the new moon. After all, the new moon eclipse, Libra, is in your first house of you. And the first house is all about you, everything around you and inside you. So really take advantage of this new moon to really see if there's something that you need to let go of that's not working for you. And it could also play out for some Librans where maybe you are giving too much in whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe there's not enough harmony or balance, and you need to start looking carefully at how you can balance and harmonize your life so that it serves you better, right? Now, that full moon in Taurus is going to be in your 8th house. So the 8th house is a money house, generally speaking. It's also a psychological house, but it's also about a deepening of a relationship. So for some Librans, that whole new moon eclipse could usher in this new relationship, say. And then that full moon comes around and you realize that this is maybe more serious than you think. And you go to maybe the next level with this person. But it can also bring in a focus with finances. So it might be for some folks that they have this new relationship and they decide they've got to start sharing their finances together, their shared resources together. But it could also be that whatever new beginning you started brings this aha moment or culmination of some sort with regards to how you have been operating psychologically. Now, it is an eclipse for that full moon too, right? So you got 2 eclipses happening here. One in your money sector and then one all about you. So there could just be some culmination of money here. Maybe you decide to cash in some of your investments at this time, or change up, let go maybe of some of the way you're investing. And this eclipse illuminate some things for you where you maybe need to stop something and maybe start something with regards to your finances, especially finances that you're investing in or saving in or sharing with other people. Take care, Libra. All right, Scorpio. So Scorpio, that Libra eclipse actually happens in your 12th house. Now, the thing is that the sign Libra is pretty important this month. And so I spoke earlier about the yod. So this whole 12th house is kind of a little more lit up because we've got the yod pointing to it, right, all month. In particular, though, at that new moon in Libra. That new moon could be very important with regards to maybe you just cleaning up some stuff in your life, where that south node that's going to be up, that will be activated all month by the yod, that you decide that, you're going to do a Marie Kondo. And you know what? Don't go all stressed out saying, I know I've got to clean up all this stuff in my place or clean up all this stuff in my head. Just take it one step at a time. I really do. I follow this myself. Just start simple. Start simple by cleaning up one thing. Maybe it's the top of a dresser or a bedside table that you literally clean it up, clean the surface, and make it tidy. Because that activates that whole process of getting things cleaned up. And getting things cleaned up, Scorpio, is going to be important for you because that's your 12th house. Now, it could also activate other things where you decide to delve in a little bit more into the metaphysical world, that's sort of lit up for you for some reason, that you make a new start here. For others, it might even have you maybe taking some healing journey of some sort. For still others, it could have you dealing with things behind the scenes, but more from the standpoint of cleaning up or letting go of things. So this could even just be a project that you are finishing up, and this eclipse marks that. So Scorpio, this could also represent something to do with, say, hospitals. That's a behind-the-scene place. Ashrams, prisons, government offices, anything that kind of goes on behind the scenes, right? This new moon, something happens there. And maybe for some Scorpios, it's literally going to be that you get the opportunity to get involved in some kind of negotiation, legal matters, bringing some kind of harmony or balance into some of these institutions, that becomes a big focus for you, and that you're involved with helping transform what was that needs to be let go in these institutions, that you're involved in, maybe a negotiator or an implementer of some sort. Now, when we look at the full moon in Taurus, we are aspecting here an opposition with your 7th house. And the 7th house is the house of the other. Typically, we talk about business partnerships or marriage partnerships, but it could also be clients or any other, right? And typically we say signing a contract. That's the other we're talking about. But what's interesting at this full moon for you, Scorpio, is that, one of your rulers, Mars, is going to be in your sign, Scorpio, and it will be opposite Jupiter. And so this could be a really lucky aspect for you. It's kind of akin to the maxim, fortunate action. But it's fortunate action with regards to really knowing and understanding your limitations, right? Because Jupiter likes to expand things, it's going to be looking at you and with this Mars and Scorpio saying, let's take that risk. Why not? And so that's what I'm really referring to, is knowing your limitations. But it could be a lucky time for you with regards to that full moon. Something may come to light that is really beneficial to you. Now, the full moon, like I said, is in your 7th house. It's an eclipse as well. So I'm just saying that it could be that some Scorpios decide to get married at this time, or that a potential marriage partner or potential business partner comes into view at this time. I'm thinking especially, it could be business as well as marriage, because, of course, the ruler of that full moon is Venus. But I'm thinking for some Scorpios, it may be this business partner that brings in money for you, right? Because Venus rules that full moon eclipse at the end of the month. And maybe that whole Mars opposite Jupiter is some kind of fortunate action that comes in. Maybe a benefactor that helps you out here. But when we look at the yod, Scorpio, that Neptune is in the 5th and Uranus is the 7th, as I've just spoken about. And so I'm thinking there may be some kind of unexpected development with regards to a partnership, marriage, and or business, and potentially clients as well, where you're going to be asked to let go of something. All right, Scorpio, take care. So Sagittarius, when we look at that new moon in Libra, well, it favorably sextiles your 11th house. And so the 11th house certainly could be anything to do with your hopes and wishes. It is the money you make potentially from your own business. It is also friends and groups that you belong to. So, I mean, I'm thinking right off the bat, some Sagittarius may just decide to join some new groups, make some new friends. And these friends may be very Libran-like, so they like to bring harmony and balance into your life. It could also favor some kind of legal issues as well. Diplomacy could be very much at the forefront here too, where you have to work with, say, groups and maybe even friends in these areas of life for some reason. But it's all about a new start, right? So I think there are going to be some Sagittarians that literally just make new friends, maybe friends that, you know, come with some kind of legal or diplomacy type situation that's favorable for Sagittarius. When we look at the full moon in Taurus, that's in your 6th house. And so the 6th house also rules a few things, Sagittarius. Notably, when we're talking about an eclipse, we're really asking, how's your health doing? So the 6th house can be your health. If something does come to light or is illuminated, even if it's small, Sagittarius, check it out. It may be something small and it doesn't come something big. It could also be a time for some Sagittarians to literally take hold of their health, mental health or physical health, and decide to do something new with regards to this area of your life. For others, it may just be ending a job, right? The 6th house can also be a job. And for those that don't work, the 6th house is just what do you do day to day? And so there could be some ending there as a result of something being illuminated for you. Now, the yod for you, Sagittarius, kind of brings into view the 4th house and the 6th house, and it points at the 11th house. So when we look at Neptune here, which is in Pisces, forming a square with you, there could be this yod could bring in a challenge for you. That's what I'm thinking. A challenge for you where maybe you don't want to let go of something, right? And you realize that you probably should let go of something here because you want a new start of some sort. Now, this could be something to do with your home, your mother, your habits even. Like all these things come into view all month long. So don't forget this yod operates all month long. But maybe just think about it. Just think about those areas of life, or maybe you could, you know, just do some minor changes to start off with to let go of old ways of doing things. Maybe you're not eating right. Maybe you're not exercising enough. All those areas of life are up for a big change for you, Sagittarius. But look to that new moon as a new start with regards to maybe some of your hopes and wishes coming true, Sagittarius. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, right? Take care, Sagittarius. All right, Capricorn. So Capricorn, that new moon in Libra squares your 10th house. And so when we talk about that whole yod operating, pointing at everything that's in Libra at the new moon especially, There could be some challenges with regards to your career. It does not mean that it's all going to be disaster. It just might mean that you have to overcome some things, and the overcoming may be just a lack of confidence, maybe in a new job or new career that you've taken on, or that you've got to take a test or take some kind of extra courses to brush up on maybe this new start that you're doing. And if the new start has anything to do with diplomacy or the legal matters or even maybe relationships of some sort, that could be very favorable for you. Just work with the challenges, seek out any advice that you can get, and just do it one foot in front of the other, right? But this will involve you letting go of something. So I'm thinking for some Capricorns, you may decide, I'm letting go of this career. I'm letting go of this situation that I'm in, because the 10th house also represents your social status, that type of thing, right? As well as your career and your reputation. Now, I talked about that gibbous waxing moon. That's at 28 degrees of Capricorn. So you have to have something at 28 degrees to really feel this. But for some Capricorns, this is going to be like a test, a final test, or a final, I'm done now. I know I'm done. I'm really done. I'm moving on. And that full moon represents a lot of stuff for you, for some Capricorns, where it represents, the eclipse represents something where you have let go and that you're moving on, that's more been illuminated, and that occurs at the full moon. But you get the aha, or the real understanding at that gibbous moon, right? Not till the 22nd of October. So when we look at the full moon that is in Taurus, well, that forms a favorable trine with your 5th house. So this is fantastic for you. This is going to activate something to do with any 5th house matter. This can be true love. It can be children. It can be your own business you decide to start. It could be some creative project that you get involved in. Now, I know it's a full moon, but it doesn't have to be something that, goes all bad or all wrong. For some Capricorns, it could just be a culmination of a big creative project that now is finished, right? And with the trine happening, it's favorably finished and favorably viewed. Or your children could have something to do with this full moon eclipse as well. There may be something. Maybe some of them will be leaving home at this time or making the decision to do that. And everything works out just fine. You could also take on a new creative project at this full moon as well, by the way. And for others, it could be just a whole new love appears in your life. And that's what the eclipse brings in for you. Eclipses can go, they're wild cards. So although this is a full moon, it could also bring in something new for you too. So don't dismiss that as a possibility. Take care of yourself, Capricorn. All right, Aquarius. So that new moon in Libra favorably trines your 9th house. So that area, the 9th house, is lit up by that yod that I spoke about. It also brings in the 2nd house too. So the 2nd house, the 4th house, and the 9th house are involved. So I would say that here you're being asked to let go of something as well. Now, this new moon could be, for some Aquarians, that you finish off some education. The 9th house can be higher education. And this eclipse marks that. You finished your education and you got a whole new start now. It could have a whole new start with regards to legal matters. For others, it could be publishing. And for still others, this might just be a trip of some sort. Some travel is initiated at this time. And the 9th house, represents foreign people, foreign things. So there may be an element of that brings in a newness. So it could be that you just get involved with foreign people or foreign lands for some reason. And there may be a tinge of some kind of legality about it as well. Not necessarily negative, because this is a trine to you, Aquarius. When we look at the full moon in Taurus, well, it squares your sign, and it squares that fourth house. So there could be something brought up here, at a, not an extreme example, but as an example, I guess, say the new moon, you're offered this great new job, but it's to do with foreign people and foreign things, and maybe you got to move. Then you get this full moon coming up, and not everybody wants to move. The fourth house is your home, it's your family, it's your mother, it's your habits. So it could be for some Aquarians that there's a little bit of a challenge with regards to that fourth house, and it could be something as simple as, okay, now I've got to quickly sell my house, and or I've got to buy a house too, or get a house as a result of what happened at that new moon. I always say, think outside the box, seek out advice, see what other members of your family have to say. Maybe they've got some good ideas here. I've mentioned this before, but of course, Pluto next year will be spending a fair amount of time in your sign, Aquarius, but really it only gets up to around the 2-degree mark. So we're only looking at 0 to 2 degrees next year. But if you do, Aquarius, have something around that, you can expect something pretty significant to start transforming in your life. But remember, Pluto moves very slowly. It gives you lots of heads up. Your job is to listen. Listen to what Pluto is saying. Please let go of, or please transform. All right. Take care, Aquarius. So Pisces, this new moon in Libra is in your 8th house. So this new start is going to be to do with what? Well, shared resources is one thing. Investments, you may decide to do some new investing here. Maybe amp up that 401k. You could also decide, for those folks that want to retire, to start taking that pension or that 401k and utilizing it, right? That could be your new start. But certainly it points to letting go of something. So I was just thinking that I'm sure there are some Pisces out there that have decided to retire. And that's what this new moon represents. And, when you think about it, there's going to be some kind of tie-up with regards to anything that you've got to put in place to access, say, your money, that type of thing. But it just might be that you take up a new financial investor, or you use a new firm to, manage your investments, or you decide to manage your own investments. But certainly with that Libra involved here, there may be some legal aspect to it, not necessarily negative, but some legal aspect that you have to take into consideration. As I mentioned, that yod will be operating in terms of pointing to that 8th house all month. And it could just be also shared resources. Maybe you're involved with someone and now you're living together and you've got to pool your resources, and you spend the whole month working with your partner to make things work, where you truly are sharing things together. All right, so the full moon is going to be sextiling you, full moon in Taurus, and it sextiles your 3rd house. So this says to me, you may have some opportunities to, and maybe that's a result of you leveraging some investments that you decide to get involved in, some kind of sales or commercial venture of some sort. That's really important to you. Taurus does have a realm, and it's the realm typically of money. So this could be very much you're using that investment money to now do some kind of new venture in sales and commercial type things. For others, it could just have you finishing off a writing project, small or big. For others, it could have you tying up maybe some active short distance travel that you've been doing, where that you get the opportunity to have that maybe come to an end, and or you could actually start doing that where you get an opportunity to actually do short-term travel, that type of thing, maybe in your actual job. There may be more opportunities to interact with your neighbors and or your siblings too. So these are all favorable things when we talk about a sextile, right? Now, you know that Saturn is in your sign, Pisces, at 0 degrees and some minutes. Next month in November, it will go forward at 0 degrees. So you could look forward to November as sort of a slow-moving, forward type of energy with regards to, say, new structures that you want to put into your life. Yeah, we'll talk about that more next month, but I just wanted to remind you of that. It's all about initiatory, right? Because that Saturn, even though it's retrograde, is at 0 degrees. So this could have some Pisces reconsidering rules and regulations, reconsidering maybe someone's advice or considering somebody's advice. That type of thing too. And of course, your ruler, Neptune, is still sextiling Pluto. That's a beautiful opportunity really to transform your dreams, right? So there's going to be a number of Pisces that are seeing their dreams potentially come true here. Okay, take care of yourself, Pisces. All right, Aries. So that new moon in Libra, of course, is opposite to your sign, and it's the 7th house. So it brings into view something new with regards to your partner, business partner, marriage partner, and or clients, or any other, right? So that 7th house is going to be lit up for you all month, Aries. So you may have to pay attention to some new initiative that your business and or marriage partner is showing you or telling you at this time. It is all about letting go as well, because of course we've got it all month long. We have that South Node in Libra being activated by the Yod. And so I would say work with your partners, your clients, to let go of some way of doing things that just is not facilitating things going right or making things smooth. It could, for some Aries, there may be some decision of letting go of a partnership at this time. But in the same token, it can also bring in a partnership of significance, right? Even though it's in opposition. Now we look at that full moon in Taurus. It is in your 2nd house of what? The income you earn, your values. Yeah, so this could have you ending maybe some income that you've had coming in for some reason. Something is activated at this time where you decide to let go of it. Now, we're also going to have Mars in your, and it'll be activating Jupiter, especially at the full moon in the full moon eclipse in Taurus. So some Aries may just have some luck come their way with regards to fortunate action of some sort. And you will have to think about what that might be for you individually. You still have Chiron in your sign operating at a big level of trying to bring some healing your way. Healing with regards to you being the individual that you want to be and you being that independent individual, fully supported, right? So take care of your health as well. You certainly have Chiron in there activating better health for you, whether it is physical health or mental health, Aries. Take care of yourself, Aries. All right, so Taurus, that new moon in Libra is in your 6th house. So that 6th house, you could have some new beginning. Maybe you make some new start here with regards to taking care of your health, your physical health, mental health, or both. But we've got that Yod operating pretty strongly here, pointing to that South Node and asking you to let go of some things. So in a strong way, I would say that new moon eclipse is saying you could have a new start here. Just let go of those old habits of what? Maybe not eating the right foods, maybe not exercising enough or not exercising in the right way, Or maybe your mental health needs some care as well. Maybe you decide to take up some meditation at this time. That could be something that's up for you as well. When we look at the full moon in Taurus, well, of course, that is going to be in your first house. So this, in many respects, for all Taurians, is a wrap-up. You've had a good year and a half of eclipses in your sign or in your opposite sign of Scorpio. A lot of activation of big change in your life with Uranus, and Uranus is still in there. But you got Jupiter, and Jupiter in there is a big cushion and can be a lot of good luck, even though on the surface it may not seem that way. But I really feel that for a lot of Taurians, this final eclipse is going to be the wrap-up. You're going to just say, okay, you dust your hands off and say, that's it. I'm not doing any more here. I can move on. It's all about you. But you got a lot of activation there, Taurus, in your first house with both Jupiter, Uranus, and then this full moon. You do have to have something at the degrees of this. So we're looking at 5 or 6 degrees of Taurus for having any major effect. But you've got Jupiter in there. It's retrograde at 13, and you've got Uranus at 22. So, there could be activation of all these things, but this could be very favorable for you. But it all really points to that yod, to that 6th house. And so for me, I would say, Taurians, take care of your health. If there's some kind of job presented to you that may come out of the blue, consider it carefully because it might be a really good move for you. Take care, Taurus. So for Gemini, this new moon in Libra forms a trine to your sign, and it involves the 5th house. Well, that is absolutely fabulous. So the 5th house represents true love. It represents children. It represents your own business. And it represents creative projects, and it represents having fun. So with that trine, there's favorable opportunities for all those areas of life. Yippee. Good for you. Now, Libra overall represents things like relationships, social engagements, friendships, that type of thing. So for some Geminis, you may meet a new love, may come into your life at this time. That's at that new moon in Libra, 14th or 15th of October. Because you're going to have the yod pointing to this, it's an important point in time for you, that new moon eclipse, with regards to all 5th house matters that I've just mentioned. Now, the full moon in Taurus will be in your 12th house. So the 12th house is a house of rest. So it could be, for some Geminis, towards the end of the month, that you've had a big social month up to the end of October, and you decide that you just need to rest. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It might be very good for you. But it can also illuminate things that are hidden. So these are hidden places potentially, may for some reason be brought into view for you. So this could be hospitals, it could be ashrams. Maybe you decide to go away to an ashram and meditate and heal. It can also be government offices. Those could become important for you as well. But it could just be working behind the scenes. It could be you, for instance, a creative project of some sort is brought to fruition. It culminates, it finishes at this time. And you're able to take it from under wraps, behind the scenes, out in front of other people. And that's what you celebrate towards that eclipse in Taurus at the end of the month, where you wrap up some fabulous creative project that you were working on. Maybe even some artistic project too, because certainly both Venus and Taurus are very much art-oriented. For some Geminis, that new moon, the whole month of October, because that yod is pointing at the 5th house, it could have you letting go of a way of doing relationship, and you make some big changes on how you interact in relationships, and or maybe even favorably letting go of a relationship to have a new relationship come in at this time. Take care, Gemini. All right, Cancer. Cancer, that new moon in Libra eclipse squares your 4th house. But the full moon in Taurus, that eclipse, sextiles your 11th house. So you've got a combination of things going on here. You're being asked to let go of something with regards to your 4th house. So this could be letting go with regards to something literally in your home. It could be there's a new start in your home where you've got to do some kind of, there's a challenge of some sort. Or maybe you acquire a new home and there's things that have to be done in the home. It's as simple as that. But it's going to feature all month. That's the thing. There might also be some legality around something to do with your home, your family, or your mother for some reason. Maybe your mother needs your help at this time, and it just requires you to put more effort into that area of your life. But that's not going to necessarily be a difficulty. There's a lot of good things surrounding it, but it does ask you, that yod pointing at that 4th house, to let go of a way of doing things with regards to all 4th house matters. I'm thinking there might be some Cancers that for some reason they're trying to buy a home or sell a home, and there's some legal stuff that comes in here that has to be handled. And it means that you've got to let go of an old thing. Maybe it's something as simple as letting go of a home that you're in, and that you just have to make that decision to let it go and then work at making it happen. But it could just as equally be, because it's a new start, a new moon eclipse, you just signing off on some legal papers to get that new home. But that it's not all straightforward. It doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means you've got to put effort into it. But hey, that lovely full moon in Taurus sextiles your sign, Cancer, in the 11th house. This could literally usher in new friends, new groups into your life that are very beneficial. To what? Well, certainly if you were involved in any social media of any sort, or your YouTube, or any of those platforms, there could be some brilliant new opportunities for you here, for sure, right? I'm just thinking, the combination of the new moon and this full moon for Cancers, maybe you've got to really change up something in your home with regards to, say you are operating in social media and your home has to take on a bigger role with regards to how you do that job, say, with social media. And you've got to, let's just say, clear out some room in your home so you can be more effective in social media. That could be up as well for you. But friends could be very beneficial for you here, for sure, as well as new groups coming in for you. They'll just maybe provide opportunities for you to expand. That's what I'm thinking. Could also bring in some creative projects for you. Just straight out, it could bring in some opportunities to make money, especially if you are in your own business. Look forward to that. And especially if your own business is in some kind of social media. And most of us are in that these days, right? It's a sextile, so it's not a big, heavy energy. But I would say this may also be, for some Cancers, an opportunity to have some of your hopes and dreams come true as well at that full moon, even though it's a full moon. Take care, Cancer. So for Leo, that new moon in Libra sextiles your sign and involves the 3rd house. So this is all about communications. Now, with Libra here, and Libra being relationships, friendships, legal matters, diplomacy, harmony, balance, it could bring in some kind of opportunity to put a new start to some legal matters, right? That's what I was thinking straight off. Or you sign some contracts. You get an opportunity to sign a contract that's very favorable for you. Communications can be excellent for you here too. But it might mean you letting go of an old way of doing things, or literally letting go of something, right? Maybe you're in a commercial or sales venture and you got a new opportunity and you want to sign a contract for it, but it means you got to let go of something that you already have. Or if not let go, Leo, transform it in some unique new way, right? You can't leave it the way it is, because all month you're going to have that yod pointing at your third house, right? So communications are going to be very important. Be very clear with your communications. Take every opportunity to reply back to anything that may give you a new start, especially with regards to legal matters, diplomacy, relationships, and anything that can bring in harmony and balance into your life. That full moon in Taurus squares you, Leo, and it involves the 10th house. So, if we look at that yod still operating at the full moon, we have the yod having Neptune in the 8th house, Uranus in the 10th house square, pointing at the 3rd house. So I'm thinking there may be something with regards to your career that's unexpected that comes up, that comes in a form of a communication to you, that in some ways is a culmination, but that also requires you to perhaps work harder or to solve problems, because I'm talking about that square to the full moon eclipse in Taurus in your 10th house, and then that whole yod pointing. So I guess just be aware of what's happening in your career and respond to communications as best you can, because communications are big here. Neighbors and siblings may focus in here in October as well, favorably for you too. And of course, we have Venus in Leo, now out of shadow. So hopefully some of my Leos who've been challenged through the summer months, that resolution is arrived at in October. Take care, Leo. All right, Virgo. So Virgo, this new moon eclipse in Libra is in your 2nd house of earned income. It is also your possessions. It's also your values, that type of thing. I'm just thinking that you may take on a new job, that because this new moon is in Libra, you sign a contract for a whole new job here, and it's brilliant. You love it. There's a lot of things of you letting go. So you could be letting go of an old job and taking on a new job, a new source of income. At a kind of deeper level and maybe more esoteric, you may consider the values that you have and decide that you maybe aren't being valued enough, and that you seek out some new start here with regards to having people maybe value you more. It may be that you seek out a new job, or you stay within the job but get more income as a result of you deciding you are worth more money, for instance. But it could just straight off, Virgo, have you purchasing more possessions, that you decide that you want to do that. It is a new moon and a new start. But like I said, we've got that yod all month pointing at your 2nd house. So it has something to do with your income. At a more practical level, Virgo, it may have you looking, because you are practical, looking at the practicalities of the money that you make, the income that you have coming in, and maybe making some clear decisions here on what you need to do with the money that you make. I mean, that's good advice at any time, but it's in full force here all month for you, Virgo. And don't forget that most of the month of October, we have Venus, the great attractor of benefits, in your sign, Virgo, all month. So that should bring in some, it's just some lovely benefits and lovely energy. People favoring you, that type of thing. Maybe even bringing in money for you. When we look at the full moon in Taurus, wow, well, that trines your sign, Virgo. You're both fellow earth signs. And so that's in your 9th house. 9th house is higher learning. It's also, what means something to me. So I guess at a sort of more high level of consciousness level, there'll be some Virgos that decide maybe to let go of some things in their life and embrace other things that mean something to them. And that could be anything, right? For others, it could just be that you favorably wrap up some advanced education. You favorably wrap up some kind of legal matter, and it all turns out for you fantastically and unexpectedly. For others, maybe you're just going to end a trip of some sort or end planning for a trip and decide where you want to go, maybe overseas, because certainly the 9th house rules foreign places and foreign things, right? But foreign places and foreign things, foreign people could come much more into focus for you towards the end of the month at that eclipse. And maybe it will also involve money, because Taurus can be very much money-oriented, right? I'm thinking for other Virgos too. Taurus can represent your home in the sense of, real estate. And the 9th house is overseas. So there may be some Virgos that literally decide, hey, I'm going to get a home overseas. I've decided that that's what I want to do. And maybe that new moon in Libra in your 2nd house is that new job, a new source of income, but it involves a foreign connection. That sounds pretty exciting. All right, take care of yourself, Virgo. Okay, everyone, that kind of wraps up things. I hope I've given you some information that is of use to you. As always, you are the captain of your ship. You decide which way you want to steer your life. I'm just giving you some information that I hope will help, just help you make those decisions. But it is your decision, whatever you decide to do. This is an action-packed month with these 2 eclipses, but I see them really working out well as long as you take that high road of Libra-type things, seek harmony, seek fairness, and balance. To me, that's the overriding energy for this October, because we've got this big stamp of Venus, right? And Venus is sweet. Maybe that little adage of, a little bit of honey is a little bit better than vinegar is something to take seriously in this month of October. Well, I wish you lots of sweetness. Take care of yourself, everybody. We will be in touch when I do my November 2023 video. Bye for now. Sending you lots of love.